G'day guys, welcome back to Beers and Breakevens, heading into round 25. My God, that has flown by. 3 weeks to go and the great chase begins, Timbo. I think you wrangled in about 20 points on me on the weekend. 384, I think was my count. Have you got it in you? Are you made of the right
stuff? Is it 384?
Maybe it's 484.
I thought it was 500 last week.
Yeah, it's 484 then. Yeah.
Yeah, I almost got you regardless.
I'm feeling confident. How are you feeling?
The Cleary injury is tricky. I think it's good for us with trades left. But for you v me, it probably loses a bit of flexibility in options with the final trades.
Yeah.
So from an overall perspective, it's good, but from a me v you perspective, not necessarily.
Yeah, it sort of allows me to just play straight and narrow.
Yeah, if you want to be an absolute narc and just be boring as always.
Oh, I love it. I fucking love it. Guys, this week, I'm just not moving whatsoever. I went down 88 spots and I'm into 7,000 and something again. I think I've been 7,000s for the last 8 or 9 weeks. Just nothing doing. Did Spy move at all? I didn't listen last night. Did Spy move at all?
He's been the exact same. Yeah. He's been like 4,000 to 5,000 for like several months.
Oh, so fucking frustrating. You went up last week?
Oh yeah, mate. I'm flying.
How much you go up?
So 1,378 points, up 800 spots to into 14K. Look out.
Stop the press.
Yeah.
So I'm 7,227 rank. Catmandu, welcome in.
Thank you.
I can't actually see Cat today. This is weird.
Yeah, I know.
We played a little bit of musical chairs today to shake it up a little bit for the run home. Cat, how are we? What did we score? Where are we ranked? What's doing? What do we have for breakfast?
I'm very good. Just to start off with the questions, I scored 1,401. I think it's my best score so far this season. And I went up just under 2,000 spots. So to 22,069, which is fantastic. But you know what? Slow and steady wins a race. That's how it works,
How'd Connor Tracy go for you?
I sold him.
She traded it.
I know.
I traded Connor Tracy for... oh my, I've already forgotten. No, Ramian.
Hello.
Yeah.
I turned around at the Brew Crew event when he scored and was like, Cat. And she's like,
Saw it.
Good.
Yeah.
Fantastic. That hurts.
Tell you what, watching that game, I'm pretty sure he actually broke 28 tackles, not 8 or whatever he was awarded. They couldn't tackle him.
They couldn't get near him. How good. So that's us all round this morning. Obviously, the big news, Nathan Cleary out. Looks like he will probably miss the rest of the SuperCoach season. You'd have to assume so. So if you don't have any trades, tough to-dos. Love that. How good.
It's wonderful.
It's wonderful. From a strictly SuperCoach point of view, fantastic.
We're SuperCoaches here.
Yeah.
And it's great news as someone who terribly needed, as bad as this sounds, it's SuperCoach-wise, players to go down and well-owned players. Great news. Those out of trades, hanging on for dear life.
Yeah, big time, especially with, obviously a couple of key outs this week. Cody Walker, I'm not convinced Wade Egan will play this week for guys that have him as well. You've got Lockie Galvin with a buy-in coming as well, the Tigers. So, and we haven't even got into restings yet, which I'm sure we will very soon. I
got a good story for you two. You'll love this. So I had Rando on the podcast last night and he goes, how's your side going, mate? And he goes, not great. But he goes, I used my last trade on the weekend. I'm like, so he goes, I can't do anything with Cleary. And I'm like, why'd you use your last trade? He goes, I've got you in the About Even League. I had you in the About Even League, knockout final. And he goes, going into the last day, he was in trouble. So to beat me, he brought in Lomax with his fight. He went Iro to Lomax, which is an absurd trade unless you're purely head-to-head focused.
Yeah.
Knocked me off with it. He's now stuck in his halfback spot with Nathan Cleary and Kobe Black.
Worth it.
Yeah, but knocked me out of About Even in the process.
Are you out of it?
Yeah.
Oh, fucking oath. Well done, Rando. I'll back that. Heaps into that.
What like a salt into the wounds of the season that is.
I love that. Yeah. Unreal. Good on you, Rando. Speaking of, Rando is going to be joining us tomorrow in our golf team, the Kai Pearce Putters, which after I named our golf team after Kai Pearce Paul, I should have known he was going to fucking score last week. I should have known. I've waited 23 weeks. That was the ultimate.
I want to know, because obviously watching that game, I thought of you immediately when Kai Pearce Paul scored.
I think Kai Pearce Paul thought of me.
Yeah, I actually think that he may have, because he Didn't he post something?
He messaged me after. He was
Yeah.
like, we did it. I was like, we did. You knocked on, but we did it.
Yeah, when his try celebration was that, wasn't it?
Unreal.
So you've been calling that since round 1. Look, you were close. Round
0, I backed him to score in Vegas too, despite not being there. Proceed.
How many times do you reckon you bet? How many rounds was there a financial wager put on him to score a try?
Well, I mean, the numbers are there. Check on about even. You'll have to. I pretty much don't punt anymore outside of about even. So I reckon 23. I reckon I would have punted on him at least 10 or 11 times. At least. But I mean, he's in my draft side. He's in my club. I punt on him every fucking week to score. I back him every week.
On the plus side, good for SuperCoach. He's coming good, the old KPP.
Yeah, taking on he's got a good matchup this week, doesn't he? Taking on the South Sydney Rabbitohs, who are a little bit decimated. So, yeah, he's looking all right. I'm happy to have him. Okay, let's get into Team List Tuesday, Timbo.
Yeah.
All right, so we have got Thursday night Tigers v Seagulls. It's coming to you from Leichhardt Oval, 7:50 p.m. Tom and Eddie have got a live stream that night with the great Beaver Menzies. Beaver, one of my favourites. For the Tigers, Adam Dewey, he is out. Junior Tupu comes into the centres. You Dolphins fans, keep a little eye on him. Manly Seagulls, Tommy Talau out. Kohler in the centres. Lawton back on the edge. Burbo to the bench. Anything to touch on there, Timbo, outside of Tommy Turbo scoring probably 300 in that game and finishing your season once and for all?
Tommy Turbo, hammy, 5 minutes in. James Tedesco, 220 against the Titans. Game on, we're square.
Shittest form I've ever heard.
Could happen. We both know it. Those two things.
Friday night, we've got the Wars of the Doggies. This is coming to you from Sean Johnson Stadium. You'll love to see it. SJ at 7. Wade Egan's been named at 9. I'm not convinced he will play, but I guess, mate, being SJ's final game in New Zealand, maybe he does just get up for this one. I like the Wars 1-12 in this one. I reckon we could be a little emotional upset here.
I'm with you. I reckon the Wars win.
Yeah.
I just think, I was saying last night, but the Doggies, they've been up for a long time.
Yeah.
Penrith are maybe the exception to this rule, but teams always have down weeks.
Yep.
The Dogs have to have one at some point. The emotion charge of the Warriors going into Sean Johnson's final game at home, I'm with you. I think they get up and win it.
Yeah, I like it. For the Bulldogs, Maxi King named on the extended bench. There is a bit of an injury cloud around Josh Curran, but there seems to be an injury cloud around him every week for the last month, so we'll see. Have you got any Max King or Josh Curran news?
I've got none, no.
None. I've got Josh Curran in my draft team, the guy I'm playing as Max King, so it could be a real double fisting there for me. So we'll keep an eye on that. Broncos Eels, Suncorp, 8 p.m. for the Bronx. Sailor at 1, no Reece Walsh. No other huge changes for the Broncos, who have become weirdly irrelevant from a Supercoach point of view, mate. Really nothing doing there.
Isn't it funny, like, they're still mathematically alive, playing for their season, a soft run home, and there's still no relevance.
Still just nothing doing. Yeah. For the Eels, they're also like, I don't think there's any hope in hell they rest players. Like they're a gold mine, but there's just nothing jumping out there.
Points in them. I think they've got 3 games at Suncorp. Like, it screams points, but you couldn't
Coming
touch
off a
them.
bye. Bizarre. For the Eels, Sean Lane named at prop. It's been a wild season for Sean Lane. Shout out to the dickhead who called him a slam dunk at the start of the season. Has 2 thumbs and looks like this guy. Kelmer named on the edge for the Eels as well. Have you still got Sean Lane?
No, I flipped him to Angus Crichton last week.
Yeah, nice. Super Saturday, we've got Raiders v Panthers coming in from the nation's capital. For the Durs, Rapana at 7, KO Weeks at 6. Is Ethan Strange must be injured?
I believe so. I think someone said calf or something.
Okay.
It's weird for him to drop out of the squad entirely.
Very strange, yeah. No other big changes there for the Raiders. For the Panthers, Summerton at 9, Martin on the edge, Alamotti, Garner and Taruva on the extended, and of course Schneider comes in for Nathan Cleary. 5:30, Storm v the Finn. Dolphins, no real changes here, all pretty much as expected. No Jeremy Marshall-King yet. For the Melbourne Storm, Wishy's been named on the wing, and I have no doubt whatsoever he will cross and score meat pies. Grant Anderson out of the side, Sua Farlongo on the bench. Rabbits v Knights at Core Stadium, 7:35 p.m. for the Bunnies. Hawkins comes in to replace Cody Walker. Hurts, Ty Munro on the extended. After watching him in Cup last week, you would have to assume Ty gets a spot in there somewhere. For the Knights, Dylan Lucas at centre. Cogger at 6, Price at 14. I was a little bit surprised, Timbo. I thought they would have gone Price at 6. here, bit of X factor.
I thought they may have two, yeah. And
I'm not ruling out a change late here, but we'll see.
yeah, it wouldn't shock me at all, actually. And yeah, the big one here for the Stallions is just Jaden Brayley, who's caused a few headaches this season. He's Robson on the bye, got in theory, an 80-minute Jaden Brayley who based through the roof last week. So I just need 1 week from him and we can make amends for what's been.
What did he score last week? It was like a 60 or something, wasn't he? He killed it. Didn't he go really poorly the week before and then...
Yeah, so last week he was 68 in 85 minutes with 58 points in base.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, so look, I just need 1 week out of him. Get through this one, knock me out of, you know what, I'd take 45 and let's just move on.
Yeah, for sure, 100%. I'll tell you what. If Price was named at 5'8" this week and for the rest of the season, he was another one I was considering as a little pod play. I really like the Knights run home.
It's extremely soft.
It's very soft. Yeah. Yeah. Looked at Gagai, Price. Yeah. I just got a feeling about the Knights over the next few weeks.
As if you're not Gagaiing for the run home.
I'm seriously considering it. This rubber arm could be bent by the end of the episode. Sunday, Titans v Roosters, Seabus Super Stadium, 2 p.m. For the Titans, Bo Fermor back on the edge. Haas goes back to the bench. For the Roosters, Nat Butcher comes in to jersey 13, replacing Connor Watson. Another big out for owners out there this week. Another HIA.
Especially this week, like people with Robson on the bye, they might have like enough second hooker or whatever it might have been. People looking to bring in a hooker, and we'll get to them a little bit later, the options there, but he was a genuine trade-in option with their run home, playing lock, obviously. It's going to catch a few people out the hooker position this week.
Surely there'll be a few that have Robson, Watson.
I'd imagine so, yeah.
I wish we could get numbers on that.
Yeah.
Just that little sick puppy inside me would love to know how many are in that boat. But anyway, we've then got the Shane Flanagan Cup, Wynn Stadium, 4:05 p.m. Dragons, Sharkies. Only change for the Dragons, Raymond Faitala Mariner onto the Pine. For the Sharkies, Katoa and Talakai out. Itero and Stone Street back in, and Hazelton on the bench there. Anything to touch on in that one, Timbo?
Oh, I just think the only thing is that with Trindle back, the left edge, Iro, Mulitalo, they're going to benefit from it, surely.
You'd have to think so, yeah. Guys, Blue Wealth Property, our major sponsor for season 2024. We had the great Andrew Mortimer in here last week to talk us through all things Blue Wealth Property. We've had an amazing amount of people sign up this year, which has been tremendous. The links, they are in the description, and an opportunity to have a direct conversation with the Blue Wealth team about your situation and if investing in property is right for your wealth creation goals. You can have a discovery call with them this week. Tony's team will chat through in detail what Blue Wealth do, how they identify great property to invest in, but more importantly, get to understand your situation and work out a plan of attack. Click on the link in the show notes and book a discovery call with a Blue Wealth team, with the Blue Wealth team today. Those discovery calls, Timbo, my key word, education.
That's it. Even if you said not necessarily ready to invest, ready to buy, it's about learning about where you are, what position you're in with your finances, how can you get to the point of buying. So it's all about learning about the process.
And when you get there, make sure you tell them that Beers and Breakevens sent you their way. They might give you a discount on a house. Probably won't.
Tony might give you one of his.
He might just chuck you one. A little freebie. Thanks for coming.
I'm still waiting for that.
You're still waiting, Catman? You didn't mention Beers and Breakevens. That's on you, buddy. We also have Tuesday, the 27th of August. This one's a webinar at 7 p.m. Wealth Through Property. The OG, Timbo.
It is.
One of our faves.
We do love a good webinar.
Learn everything you need to know about building wealth through property and how Blue Wealth use a research process to identify the best investments for your financial future. Get all the info you need to create your wealth through property. All those links for the discovery call and for that event on Tuesday, the 27th of August via webinar are in the description. All right. Tim's deep dive. Cat's dropped off.
No, I was
What's
doing
doing?
it.
Were ya?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I'll take your word for it.
Can you
I
do it
can't
with
see
a bit
him
more
now.
gusto?
Yeah, can you put a bit, let's do it again.
Okay.
Tim's deep dive. I need a little bit more passion.
Yeah.
Speaking of passion, let's talk about our halfback this week, Daly Cherry Evans.
Most popular replacement for Nathan
Really?
Cleary. Yeah, number one. Last time I checked he was anyway. Might have changed, but I don't think so. So DCE, we're both owners.
Yeah. You copied me.
You copied me.
You copied me.
Oh, please. I haven't copied you in my life. Mate.
That's why I got no trophies.
5-round average of 71 points for DCE. Prior to that, he had 105 against the Dragons. The man's in form, looking very good. A pretty decent run home for Manly. Finished last year with scores of 71, 146, 153. We were both owners for that run.
We were, yeah.
As we know, though, it was against the Bulldogs and Tigers, who they had thrown in the towel well and truly by that point in the season. They were depleted. They'd given up. They had one leg in Bali.
Yeah.
His last 3 games against the Tigers, scores of 153, 75 and 105, which is interesting because Rando last night had some stats around – his stats were around halfbacks and DCE as well at Leichhardt Oval against the Tigers. So I'd imagine the 2 tons probably came at Brookie. I know the 153 certainly did because it was the end of last year, but – it was like a career average of like 50 or something, and halfbacks have scored really poorly against the Tigers at Leichhardt, which is interesting.
Very interesting.
Yeah. So, I mean, I suppose that more of a talking point than anything, but DCE is a Sammy Walker, as a Cleary trade in. What are your thoughts?
I love Rando to bits, but I'm putting the blinkers on and ignoring all the stats. I think DCE and Manly go huge this week against the West Tigers, unfortunately. I've traded in Sam Walker. I think it is the obvious play, but we've obviously already got DCE. I personally think if I had to pick one of them, I think I would lean towards DCE over Sam Walker. I really would. I think Sam Walker is at a risk of being rested over the next few weeks. I don't think Ches is. I don't think the Manly Seagulls can afford to. I just think that right edge is absolutely humming at the moment. So I would be happy to take a punt on DCE over Sam Walker.
Yeah.
I expected most people to go Sam Walker, but I like the DCE play.
I prefer the Sammy Walker play just because the run is softer. So Ches needs to put points on against the Tigers.
Yep.
I think he needs to... Like, if you're bringing him in, I think I said last night, a minimum 80 this week, but I think you want him to ton up against the Tigers because he then goes into the Bulldogs and Sharks, which are games for a top 4 position for all 3 of those clubs. So I said he had a good run. It does actually get quite tough after the Tigers. He needs to put points on here. As you said, he won't get rested. Do we think the Roosters could rest or not?
I think if they're going to rest, I think next week's going to be the week. I've always said it, and whether people want to buy into it or not, I just cannot see this club resting against South Sydney. There's just too much on the line there. You can make all the points in the world about common sense about the competition. I just think that game means too much to them. So I reckon there's every chance the Roosters, if they win this week, I haven't had a look at the ladder and how it would all work, but I would assume that if Penrith win this week, it means that the Roosters probably can't get the top 2 finish.
They can. They're only a game behind with, I'll check, but I think a way better for and against.
Yeah, they have got the best for and against, I think, because they've scored
It is,
so many
so
points.
it's 80 better than the Panthers, and they're a game behind. So, like, particularly if the Panthers do decide to rest a game, they're only one result away from it.
Yeah, fair call.
And the Roosters did have the bye in round 19 and in round 23. So they went bye in round 19, played 20, 21, 22, bye round 23, played obviously round 24. They might rest, but they should be relatively fresh off the back of those 2 byes.
Yeah, I guess if you had to bet on, which one's more likely to get rested, I think you would have to say Sam Walker. But you're right, mate. Maybe it is. Yeah, they really are still in contention, aren't they, to get that? Yeah, okay.
But yeah,
cool.
Regardless, if you do have any concerns over it, Ches won't rest. And maybe, in saying that, you get to round 27 and Manly can't move from 5th or 6th. They've got a home semi. Who knows?
Yeah, fair. Yeah, I guess, mate, like this Sam Walker, Sam Walker just worries me because I've seen the Roosters go big and him not score.
Last week.
Yeah, exactly. That's what worries me a little bit.
He's
But
got so many attacking weapons, so it can evade him. He's got low scores in him. I just think with goal kicking, and I think the Roosters put points on in the final 3 weeks, I think that floor lifts just purely because of goals that he'll kick over the next 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So, look, I like Sammy Walker. I understand the Cherry Evans play, though.
you might have started to sway me a little bit.
I normally do.
Maybe. But as a DCE owner, I feel very confident going to the back end of the season. He did
yeah.
really well. I feel good about it. Let's talk about Jacob Little from the St. George Illawarra Dragons. I love this guy, man. I'm a big fan.
Like, he is the most under-the-radar player of the season, I'm going to say. So since taking up that 80-minute hooking role in round 10, he's averaged 71.3 in 12 games.
Holy fuck.
I know. He has a 5-round average of 73 points. That's without scoring a try, and he has just 2 assists in that time. Really, really good numbers. As you said, anyone needing a hooker this week, you might be running a Watson-Robson combo. You might have Watson or Robson with like a nuff or something. I think Jacob Little's the man because you look at Coruscant has a bye next week. Harry Grant is a huge resting risk. There are concerns with every hooking option. I think Little's your man.
Bro, just looking through his numbers. In the last 10 games, he's played Penrith twice. He scored 52 and 72. He's played Melbourne once, he scored 60. He played Canterbury once, he scored 65. He played the Roosters once, he scored 70. And the bloke hasn't gone below 50 in the last 11 weeks. And he's only gone below 60 once.
How good is he going?
He genuinely is the best hooker.
Yeah.
I'm not going to hear any arguments about it. And it's not 3-week form, it's 10-week form. It's half the fucking season.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Like, he definitely doesn't have the ceiling of other hookers, but at the moment, no hookers really have a ceiling.
No one's got a ceiling at the moment.
Nah. And then, look, you look at Damien Cook, who's, I'm really surprised. He's been an 80-minute man almost all season. So they've got Knights into Panthers into Roosters, so a really tough draw. And this goes for Cam Murray as well. But at what point do they just go, all right, we're not getting the wooden spoon, you wouldn't imagine. Their season's done. When are they going to get some more minutes into Mamazelos? And Cam Murray keeps playing 80 as well. Like, why are they running these blokes into the ground?
I don't think they will get minutes into Mamazelos. Like, they've got, this week, next week, then they play the Roosters. Then they're not going to do it against the Roosters, I don't think. So,
I think round 27, like Cookie will probably want his, and they're happy to give him like the big 80-minute farewell on that. But even so, with the tough draw, I think it's Little.
No, I just don't think they are going to get minutes into Mamazelos by the looks of it, which is, I agree, it's crazy. But anyway, yeah. Mate, the next one's a big talking point. Dylan Edwards, obviously no Nathan Cleary out. We assume that means that Edwards takes the goal-kicking tee. And just without Nathan Cleary in general, he seems to grow an extra leg. The question will be restings, but you have made a good point about are they far enough ahead of the Roosters to be able to rest? So Dylan Edwards, I won't be making a trade at fullback, but fuck, I can understand the argument to make a trade.
And that's the issue, isn't it? It's with people running any two, essentially, of Turbo, Tedesco, Ponga.
Yeah.
You can't really trade any of them out to get to him. But look, if you've got trades up your sleeve, you want to get a bit leery to finish the season. The key number here is, without Nathan Cleary this season, averages 99.25.
Oh, that's fucked.
And as you said, he'll probably get the goal kicking as well. They have a really soft run home. Serious play.
Is there a world where, as a Turbo owner, you could pick Turbo this week against the West Tigers? He'd be my captain. Then he comes up against 2 harder opposition, including the Canterbury Bulldogs next week. Panthers have a good run. If it looks like they're not going to rest, Turbo Edwards sounds outrageous, but
I get it. Yeah.
And stuff.
And the other thing is, Edwards just came back from injury, so I don't think he would rest. I think they would rest blokes who have played a long stretch of games.
I'll tell you what, if something happened this weekend that, like, Teddy got injured, for example, and you traded to Edwards, I would be petrified.
Yeah.
I would be fucking terrified of it.
And, the Tom Turbo round 27 resting is interesting. Like, if Manly are in that 5th, 6th slot, can't go up, can't go down, which is a good chance. Granted, they do play, I think the Sharks might be round 27, so that could sway things. But if it ends up that way, I do wonder if Tommy Turbo gets a rest round 27, in which case a trade up the sleeve for Teddy, Ponga, whoever it might be, would be invaluable.
Yeah, big time. Let's talk about Jerome Hughes, mate, the Melbourne Storm halfback, having an incredible season. My vibe is that he's levelled out a little bit since the return of Cam Munster.
Yeah, 64-point average alongside since Cam Munster returned. 64 against the Panthers, absolutely fine. But the other 3 games where he scored in the 60s as well, Rabbitohs, Dragons, Eels, soft opposition, you would have expected more in that. Sitting at 45% ownership. Like, when you look at Cleary replacements, immediately you go, Jerome Hughes, like, what a great buy. But despite those numbers, with a pretty soft run home, I'd be happy to get him resting risk. It just sounds like they're 2 games clear now, that they probably do give him a spell.
Yeah, I mean, we heard Cheese obviously mentioned that Harry Grant has said they'll rest in round 26. Play the Dolphins this week at Amy Park. They then have to go to North Queensland to face the Cowboys on a short turnaround Thursday night. And then they play the Broncos at Suncorp. I tend to lean into what Cheese has said, that they will rest in round 26. I think that makes the most sense.
And especially now that the minor premiership, it's not actually secured, because if they did rest and lost a game and then there was an upset, like Brisbane round 27, and if Brisbane are playing for a final spot, like that becomes a huge game all of a sudden, because Reece Walsh and Payne Haas could both return for that. But they do have a 4-point buffer and look pretty safe. So I think there's a rest coming.
I think there's definitely a rest coming. And I think winning the minor premiership would be unreal. But I think as long as they've got a top 1 or 2 spot locked up, which I know they don't 100%.
Yeah, but it looks good.
But it looks pretty damn good. I think if they win this week against the Dolphins, if you're a Jerome Hughes owner, you'll be cheering on a Hughesy big game this weekend into a Dolphins victory, I think.
And yeah, as you said, like the minor premiership, but it's $200K prize. They've got the home semi locked up regardless. It doesn't mean that much.
Yeah, I agree. And I would also say if you are looking to buy Jerome Hughes, or if you're a Hughesy owner, just keep an eye on next week, because if he does get rested and you're also a Galvin owner, you're going to be very, very short in your halves.
Well, there'll be a lot out there with running a Cleary and Hughes combo without trades. So they're...
And that's assuming Cody Walker's back next week, which he might not be. So
imagine imagine having Hughes Cleary, which, well, I mean, he's 45% ownership, and Cleary was like essentially 100%.
Hughes at 45%.
Yeah, it surprised me, hey. Amongst top 10%. So he's 45, so then you add in Galvin by next week, Cody Walker. It was a head knock, so probably returns, but also they're playing for nothing. Like, imagine you could have people have no halves next week.
Fuck, that's interesting. How good is the back end of the season? I fucking love it. The greatest guessing game of all time.
Yeah.
All right, let's have a look at trades. Obviously, Nath Cleary is the biggest talking point. I believe I will go to Sam Walker, mate. I had a look at Jerome Luai. I just don't trust him enough. I had a sneaky little look at Brad Schneider for a second there, but I don't think I have the balls to do it. The more I looked at other guys, Tim, the other one is Nico Hines, obviously, holding on and waiting till next week potentially, which I love the idea of, but I just think it's a little bit too much to ask for. And if they pick him with Braden Trindle, I'm actually not going to be overly confident with it anyway. So it's probably too much risk there for me, but gee, some of you with big balls out there, I love the play. I think, mate, if you're not going Sam Walker, unless you're going DCE, we've already got Chaz. I think not going Sam Walker is just a little bit of outthinking the room. What do you reckon?
Oh, I think there's genuinely options. The Spy was really keen on Luai. Rando was, but he's a dickhead and doesn't have any trades left. It was interesting. I crunched numbers around Luai. Initially, I did it thinking that he'd be part. For starters, I thought it was going to be Jack Cole.
Yeah, so did I. Yeah.
He averaged 98 with Jack Cole alongside him. He started the season alongside Schneider quite poorly.
Yeah.
But then his last 2 or 3 games with him, I think he knocked out I think he scored like a 130 or something with him, maybe a 130 and a 60 odd and then a 90.
Yeah.
And the boys, I had a bit of a deep dive around him, but then on Playbook last night, the boys sort of got into their work quite well. And the last 2, so he was getting like 30 to 35 touches in his first few games with Schneider, but then his last 2, which was after this section with Cole, he had like mid-60s. So he'd sort of really taken on the ownership of that 7 role for Penrith by that time.
Yeah.
With games against the Raiders, Rabbits, Titans, Luai's a serious play. I like Walker, don't get me wrong. And like I will be going Walker, but far out, there's some legs in it.
Yeah, I don't trust Luai enough to be able to get my 80s, 90s, 100-point scores. And I think, I'm just like, if Luai had goal kicking, it's probably a different conversation. But I think Sam Walker having the goal kicking is just too much for me to ignore. What about the waiting for Nicho Hynes play? Where do we sit on that? The punter in me finds it very, very appealing. The content whore in me finds it very, very appealing. But I just think Sam Walker is just he's just the obvious play.
As I said, I'm doing Sammy Walker because I like their draw.
Yeah.
Against Spies looking at Nicho.
Is he?
Yeah, he wants to wait. So the Warriors next week in Cronulla. The Warriors are going to be so up for this game this weekend. I reckon Tau will be well and truly in for that game next week where Nico's expected to return. Manly at 4 points the following week, that'd be a tougher one, but it'd be fun, wouldn't it?
It'd be so much fun. Mate, there's every chance that could I do it? Yeah. I think I've got dual position guys at half, but I might even still bring in Nicho for the last few weeks. I'll seriously consider it.
Could you do him and Walker potentially? Who's your other halfback?
Let's have a little look. I think I could because I got a few dual position guys in my halves. I have got at the moment. Oh no, I couldn't actually. I got DCA. No, I couldn't. I've got Walker and Campbell who are dual positions at 5'8", so I couldn't go Hynes, but oh boy, that's appealing. I mean, mate, I don't mind. I don't mind the idea of taking a DCE this week against the Tigers and then maybe moving him to Nicho the week after.
Oh, that's interesting.
He's obviously got that Canterbury Bulldogs match up. He plays, and then he plays Nicho in the last week at 4 points, to be fair. But yeah, you got to make plays at the back end of the season.
Don't mind that.
I don't know if I'll be in a luxury position to be trading guys that are actually playing each week with restings and everything. But
well, that's the one thing. I had money in my kitty anyway for my final trade, and then now because I've had to go Cleary down, I've now got 335k, so I can do whatever I want, wherever I want, and the luxury of whoever I bring in, I can trade essentially one of my worst players to get to said person. So, like, I wasn't planning on trading this week. Cleary was the only basically injury that would have forced me using a trade this week. Anything else I reckon I would have sat on my hands. So, yeah, so it leaves me a war chest. My depth is very good, so I can cover. The only thing I couldn't really cover in terms of injuries and restings would just be if the Roosters mass rested. I think like a lot of people, I'm pretty heavily invested in them.
Yep.
So if they were to mass rest, I'd like to save that one trade up to get rid of one of those guys that week. But, yeah, I'll be sitting on one trade to go with 2 weeks left, whereas I think you will have an extra one up your sleeve.
I would donate my left testicle for a Roosters mass rest.
Because you're not overly invested.
I don't have Teddy. I don't have Manu. I've got Angus, Sam Walker, and Dom Young, but I can cover all of those.
That'd be huge for you.
It'd be massive.
Because everyone's heavily invested.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, what was the question? Before I got wildly distracted by something shiny.
So, I mean, we've sort of already speaking about trades and moved on a little bit, but that'd leave me one trade left for the final 2 weeks. I think you, for this week, would have 2?
Yeah, I'm going to have 2 left if I only make one trade this week, which there are a few other things I'm tossing up. Like, as I said, I really like play for Dane Gagai. But Simi Sasagi with a break-even of 21 this week, a bit of Do-Re me incoming.
Could you go Sungy to Gagai?
No.
Who would you go to Gagai?
I am kind of tossing up maybe a Marsu, but I do like their run home, but I fucking hate it when Dylan Lucas is inside him. And I mean, he scored well on the weekend, but outside of that one play where KP got good ball, it's the first time in a month that he's got it essentially. I'm not super confident on Marsu, so I could go Marsu to Gagai, which I don't mind. But yeah, I think I'd rather. Yeah, I think I'll just make the one trade this week. I think I'll save the 2. I'm just hoping there is mass restings and shit hits the fan, and then I've got my 2 trades, and I've got not as much money as you, but I've got 200k in the bank, so I can sort of do whatever the fuck I want.
The Knights, like, I just find it really poor coaching that they're not take out the Supercoach side and maybe in a Margio and all that crap. I don't care that they're not touching their left edge.
It's bizarre.
It is so clearly their best edge, and all they want to do is go right. Like the one play they went down the left where Margie scored, it was the best they've looked, like in Yonks.
You would have scored that in touch footy.
Yeah.
It was,
And I don't understand what this obsession is with going down the right for a team who for a long time down the left have been unbelievable. Like Ponga has always been better down the left and everything comes off Ponga.
Yeah. I have so many question marks about this Newcastle side.
Yeah.
Who I loved last year, but it just feels like they want to be blue collar. Like it's like you've got one of the most exciting attacking players in the world at fullback. Lean into it.
Yeah.
Take some risks. Like we're talking about it all year, but why the fuck Kai Paul isn't offloading the football? It
Does
just
not like he'll be standing up with a bloke around his ankle and no one within 10 metres, but people in his team all around him, and he'd just sit there and hold it. He'd be like, nah, I won't offload this.
It's bizarre.
Yeah.
I can't work it out. But anyway. All right. Is that us trades wise?
Yep.
Kat, you've got a couple up the old sleeve.
I do. Do you want to know where my head's at?
Yeah.
So you mentioned earlier about Cody Walker. So I have the Cleary Walker combo, but the
at halfback?
At halfback.
Yep.
So the Cody Walker that is of injured fame, which is fantastic. So I was actually thinking of just doing like a cheeky double and getting DCE and Sam Walker in and just seeing what happens.
Who's at 5'8" for you?
I've got Lockie Galvin and Dill Brown. So I have got the battle for the spoon in the 5'8".
So it means you could trade in a halfback or a 5'8".
It does mean that. And so I was throwing around the Luai option as well. Like it's pretty juicy. I'm pretty happy with what I've got going on elsewhere.
Yeah.
I got it wrong. I got Val Holmes in last week.
Nice.
So, but he's not playing this week.
Yeah.
So, but I've got Ramian. I've got Casey McLean. I also got Lomax. I've got RTS. So like I'm feeling pretty good about the CT dubs. So I think it's just that 5'8" halfback. What am I going to do?
Fuck, I reckon Roger gets through some work.
Yeah.
He'll have a crack.
He'll have a red hot crack.
Yeah. But that's kind of where I'm at. So I walked in this morning and I went, I'm getting Sam Walker. And then all this DCE chat, I'm like, obviously I have to get Jerry Evans now. So if I do a direct swap of Cleary to DCA, it gives me 342 to play around with.
And how many trades left?
I've got 4 trades and a boost left.
So you got 4 trades after making those trades or before?
When I go to trade out Cleary, I've got 4 trades right now.
After you've made those trades?
No, I've got 5 trades.
Okay, right. So you've got 5 trades coming into this week.
Yes.
If you make 2, you will have 3 left.
Correct.
Okay. So it almost means that Kat could bring in those 2.
Yeah.
Have DCE for this big week, and then
And
she
I
could
could
also
always
make the
do a
Hines
little-
play if she wanted to.
I could do a bit of a
Kat
swap.
can do whatever she wants.
Do whatever
Yeah.
else she wants. Yeah.
But that's what I'm thinking. So I'd like to thank you for the wisdom that you provided today, because DC is absolutely coming into my team, and then I'll figure out what else we're going to do.
I like that. All right. Sit V starts. Timbo, you got any hot takes for us this week about who you're sitting or
I
anything
actually
like
do.
that?
More. It's a good little discussion point. The Sit V starts at this time of year with each other. So 17 wise, my starting 17, I don't need Sam Walker this week. And look, that's also an option. You don't have to trade Nathan Cleary this week. As you said, you can have a look at how Luai goes. You can have a look at Nico Hines, and if he gets named next week, you don't have to make that move just yet. So, but I want Sam Walker regardless, so I'm happy to use one of my 2 final trades. So if he comes in, I'm probably looking at sitting Britton Nickera.
Ooh.
Yeah. So it'd come down to him v. Looking at my team, it's basically Nickera v. Dylan Brown. Dylan Brown comes up against that left edge of the Broncos, which has been abysmal all season defensively. Fast Suncorp surface. It's basically Nickera v. Brown. What do you think? The other one you could throw in there is Casey McLean against the Raiders, but probably not as much.
I don't mind Casey McLean. They'll put him up against Matty Timoko, won't it? I don't mind that matchup.
And like Cleary out with Luai dominating on the left, it's great.
Yeah.
But is it better than Dylan Brown versus Broncos, Paul Wheat Edge, or Nickera versus Dragons? I don't know. Oh, I don't think so.
Yeah, tough one. The hard thing is knowing just what the fuck the Broncos are going to do.
For sure.
Makes it so difficult.
And like, look, they're still missing Payne Haas. They're still missing Reece Walsh. They've also been a shambles. Like,
yeah. I probably think I'd go Dill Brown out of all those.
I think so too.
Do
Do you have Dill Brown?
No, I don't. No.
Nice little run home. I think it's Dragons and Tigers the final 2 weeks as well. So
Yeah. Yes, it's Dragons Tigers, yeah. Yeah, that's not a bad point, actually.
like I've got Kai Pierce Paul as well, but I'm not falling for that trap again. So yeah, I'm leaning towards probably Dill Brown as my final major sit v start against those guys.
Okay, interesting.
What do you got?
My bench, I'll probably have Nickera on there. I will have Sam Walker, Marshu, and probably Ponga. So the guys that I'm leaving out, Shock Me, Shimisasagi, Kai Pierce Paul, Finu, and Egan. So I think my decisions sort of make them for themselves. I don't have too many headaches to think about.
Geez, finals, that killed me last week. Finals 25. Like the game that the Tigers freaking win.
Yeah.
He scores 25.
Yeah, he's
I had to play him in the front row. Like, anyway.
Yeah, he's hasn't. I mean, I played him for his big score a few weeks ago, but I think as a whole, he's been a bit of a letdown for me. Maybe my expectations were too high, but
Yeah. Assessing him as a front row forward, I'm
Fair.
fine.
Yeah.
When assessing him as a second rower, I'm like, he should be doing more than that. But, it's a 52 average, plugging away in the front row. He was my third, before Haas got injured, he was my third front rower. So I was like, he was doing a fine job. Now that he's sort of forced him into becoming his starting front rower for me, that's a bit more of an issue.
He's obviously got he plays at Leichhardt Oval this week. I imagine most people won't be playing him unless Josh Curran's out. He's got the bye the week after that. Is there a world, if you've got enough trades, where you could move him to like a Tarpanay or someone? Does that interest you at all?
Not at all.
No.
Meh. Like what Tarpany at mid-40s last week or something.
49, yeah.
I've got Finu, Curran and Paseka. Paseka's there to cover Finu next week. It is what it is. Like next week, Paseka probably, hopefully you're going to plan plays for me. Knocks out 45. Tarpany probably at 65 to 20 points, whatever.
Yep, fair call.
Especially for my final trade.
Yeah. Okay. Captains?
This is where it gets interesting, doesn't it?
Very interesting. Well, yeah, interesting for us. Kind of a boring conversation because I think it's so obvious choices, but
Well, not when, for people that own Turbo and Teddy. That's
I don't
bloody
know,
interesting.
both, yeah. You greedy little gutses out there. I'm going to straight captain Turbo Thursday
Yeah,
night.
as you should.
Yeah. I don't give a fuck about your Thursday curse and all that bullshit. It's Turbo against the Tigers. I'm going to straight captain him. I'm not going to outthink the room. I'm going to be petrified to watch the Teddy against the Titans, and I'm so stoked I've got a lead on you because if it was about even or whatever this week, shout out, great show, then I'd be absolutely shitting myself. But I'm going to hit 18 hole-in-ones at 3 p.m. tomorrow afternoon. I'm going to fucking annihilate everyone at Shorty's Rugby League Trivia, and then I'm going to put the feet up, grab a couple of Keiths, and watch Turbo go 120 plus. That's my plan.
Is it league trivia or sports trivia?
Don't know. Hope it's league. If it's sports, I'm kind of fucked. You're going to have to do heavy carrying there,
Yeah,
which
I
you'll be
got
tired from heavy carrying us through goals. So best of luck.
I got a big day tomorrow.
Huge day. Tomorrow's your Super Bowl.
Yeah, I would straight captain Turbo too if I owned him. I was leaning towards DC, VC, but the Tigers' edge defensively, it's a new combinations again this week. I think like Dewey's out, Lau Lily's out. It's like they're just all over the shop. I'm leaning towards maybe the Garrick play over DC as my VC.
Yep.
I mean, each their own. And then C. James Tedesco, so... It's my one big chance. The little Tommy Turbo, 7th minute hammy. He'll only be on 80 by that point. and then Teddy comes out in 200s, and then we are back on.
We are really back on. We are heaps back on.
I need an injury for you early in a game. I need that to level it out where my opposition gets, 80 or 90. Yeah. Just I need a big whack like that of 80 to 90 points, I think.
Yeah, for sure. If you had both of them, I hate to say it, if I had both of them, I think I would probably go Teddy just because of Leichhardt. It was at 4 Pines. I'm not even considering it. I think if you have both, though, surely your VC Turbo, you get a slice of both pies.
Are you all there?
What? Oh, they're both at fullback. Yeah, you can't.
You're a special for that,
I am a special for that, yeah. I'm pretty consistent at least. You got to pay it. Yeah, that hurts. If I had both of them, I would lean towards Teddy just because of Leichhardt Oval.
It is so hard. It's essentially a coin toss. I would lean to Turbo just because everything comes off him, and Turbo just destroys sides with weak edge defence, which is the Tigers in a nutshell. Like their middles actually hold up half okay. Turbo will do all his damage on the edges. Everything comes off Turbo. The Roosters can score anywhere. Not that it's happened that much this year, to be fair, but sometimes the attacking stats can elude Teddy like they do Sam Walker. So I would probably just go to Turbo, but seriously, have fun with that decision.
What a spot to be in if you had both of them.
You guys talking to me. You're essentially talking to me.
What are you going to do?
Just before the last thing, the one thing I do love is Teddy has the day game versus the Thursday night game.
Yes,
I like that for him.
Yeah. No, I'm 100% in favour of the Turbo move. I'm also going to that game, and I like the thrill of being there and knowing that I've captained Turbo. And he's in great form. If he's going to score well, it's right now against the Tigers. So I think, you're setting yourself up for a good game.
There's also we haven't seen it much, but there's a good football team in the Titans somewhere. Like we've seen them play some good footy. So if good Titans turn up, there's that factor.
They're more concerning to me than the Tigers.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. Even at Leichhardt.
Yeah.
Man, that fast track on the Gold Coast. I love that stadium as a captain. I fucking froth that shit.
It could be. If the Titans turn up, it's probably 48-46 full time.
Man.
The Tigers could also lose to Manly 80-0, so...
I reckon there is every chance they get absolutely fucking flogged. And I reckon a nice little pod player. He's one that I looked at, but I think he's just too expensive for how many tries he's going to have to score. I don't mind Jason Saab too.
Yeah, I know.
I don't think I'd ever have the balls to actually do it, but...
Especially just with the toughish 2 weeks coming up.
That's more of like a point hunting situation.
If I had a lot of trades, I love the idea of bringing in Saab this week and then moving him on to... someone else. Yeah. I find that very appealing. All right. A little catch up on our little wager last week. Manu v Lomax too. Manu 81, Lomax 95. I'm going to be honest with you. The way that Manu bullied Blaze Talangi early, I thought, holy fuck, he could score 180 here. I thought 81 was very subdued for Manu.
They also come up against the Khan Pereira and Brian Kelly edge this week as well, and Jaden Campbell, so he gets the good edge.
Yeah. I think Lomax as well, he's going up against Mulatalo this week, who I think will absolutely fucking love that challenge. I'd be backing Manu in this week.
It was the softer edge of the two, but then Sione Katoa out impacts a little bit. Iro back, obviously, but I mean, Manu's got the better matchup this week for sure.
100%. There's no doubting that. So 14-point lead for Zach Lomax at the moment. Hopefully we can keep that to hopefully you can get more than 50 in front of me this week because I reckon it could be in for a big
I can't
game.
cop another L this season.
How good. Fantastic. Anything else, mates?
Pretty sweet.
Done and dusted. Another fantastic show. We have got the links in the description for Blue Wealth Property, guys. Make a discovery call, gain a bit of education. And we've got their Wealth Through Property event on the 27th as well. You can do that one via webinar. SC Playbook back on Insta. How fucking good.
Tommy Birmingham.
Felt cutes might delete laters. Love it.
Tommy Birmingham of Hello Sport fame.
Did he help you?
He got it done.
Wow.
Did live stream.
Burbo got it done.
Did the live stream with him last Thursday night. Mentioned it to him. Next morning, Instagram apologised for incorrectly flagging and suspending the account for a month. Thanks, guys. And yeah, Tommy, I haven't really spoken to him, but he did something, got in contact with someone there and just got it. I'd been trying for a month with people within Meta helping me out. Tommy made a call and it was done within like an hour.
He's wildly well connected, Burmo.
So
Very interesting.
it was a
Good to
big
know
lift.
who to call.
Yes. Yeah. So poor old Hello Sport are going to be inundated anytime someone's account goes down. Our apologies for that.
Oh, that's great. Unreal. Good to see. And the podcast last night, mate, what did we sort of touch on?
We went really deep into the clear replacements, all the options there. If you wanted to go the obvious ones, a bit left field, Benny Hunt was thrown up. There was a few interesting ones. So
Benny Hunt.
yeah.
I got sent a photo too, you fine piece of ass in your new T-shirt.
Did you?
Yeah, someone sent me a photo.
I've got a few options here for you to post show to run
Oh.
through.
Oh,
Exciting.
Daddy, talk to me. Very interested.
Sometimes I really feel like I'm interrupting when you talk to him like that.
Get out of the way. Great episode. Fantastic. We will see you a little bit later tonight on The Late Show. Best of luck with your trades, captaincies, everything. Turbo 300. We'll see you next week.